there. I told you I'd be back out again before Christmas. Only out for a day. I was wanting to test a few bits of kit out. And also we'll have a laugh at the early days of camping. We'll look at some of the cooking kit. What I'm in today is a Daiwa Mission Bivvy. I got this 10-20 years ago. I've actually slept out in this. I've also got a winter skin for it. But I'm trying it today because it's easy to set up. It's a brolly bivvy. And you just put it up like a brolly and pin it down and put a couple of extra stakes in. I'm trying it out because I like the idea of camping out in front of a fire. I've been toying with a hot tent in one of these wood stoves, but no, yeah, I think eventually I'll go that way. But I'm going to pursue this idea of the wee tent and one of these to sit in and have a wee fire out front. It's alright for when you're on your own, or maybe a couple of years. Anyway, that's what I'm trying out today. You can still get these, maybe not with a Daiwa name, but just look on eBay for brolly bivvies and get the biggest one you can. Oh, you'll get a bloody good one for about 60 quid. And I think you'll get a heck of a lot cheaper on eBay. Anyway, be back in a minute with the first goodie. That's us back. And what's in the box? The older guys will know what's in the box, because that's what I always lived in. A Primus stove. Back in the 60s when I started camping, there wasn't very much about, you either built a fire, which we could do in these days because we all had coal fires in the houses, or you got your hands on a Primus stove. This one's an Optimus. Exactly the same design. There's loads of them about. I got this on eBay, it wasn't working. Got all the parts on eBay, knocked it up, works brilliant. Runs on paraffin, or kerosene if you're American. But this was the go-to stove. We didn't have anything else. Well, there was other things, but I'll talk about them in the passing. But this was the thing that you had. In the box, if your mum and dad had a car or that, or if you went out for the day, you took one of these and maybe sat by a river and had a wee brew up. Anyway, brilliant wee bit of kit. Get rid of the box. Back in the 60s that box would shine a wee bit. So out would come the Primus stove, brass. That's all there was. They were made in Sweden. And in these days everything good was made in Sweden. Plus I had a lot of gorgeous blonde girls. Yes, we were interested in that back in the 60s. Probably a hell of a lot more. Anyway, this just screws on the top. Hand tight. Put these in. That went on the top. Now that wasn't bad, was it? Right, to get it going could be a bit of a problem. But if you've nothing else, it's no problem. This lip here, you were meant to put methylated spirits in it. Now, methylated spirits back in the 60s, you could only get it for the chemist, and you had to sign the poison book. And you had to be, I think it was 16, maybe it was more. And all you got was a wee bottle. It was handy. But we did other things. We'd pump a wee bit paraffin in there. Then if you put petrol near this thing, you'll blow it up. You pump a wee bit of paraffin in, put a wick in, maybe a bit of cloth, light it. It would go like hell. But we'd get this thing light. So what I'm going to try today is I'm going to break down a wee bit fire lighter. And we'll see if that'll light it. And of course we didn't have lighters back then. I'll tell you, see, under the age of 16 back then, trying to going into a shop and trying to get a box of matches. God almighty. Right, what that's doing is heating up the element at the top, rather like you do with, say, a Coleman stove. So once it gets warm enough, that'll be warm enough now. You tighten up the wee valve, and you pump like hell. And you get paraffin going up to the element, and as you can see it starting to. There you go. That's it bubbling now. Just wait till the fire lighter's gone out, of course. It's a nice blue flame in there, but you hate to wait till the fire lighter got out. In the old days with methylated spirits, it was the same colour. And that's how easy it was. Many a household today, they had it a spare because back then we used to have a lot of power cuts. A lot of power cuts. These fire lighters are good, they wouldn't go out to let you see, but you could start to see the blue flame coming. It was a brilliant bit of kit. But back then, you didn't have these fancy pots and pans that we have now. It was all these. Mess tins, or as we called them, Dixies. It was ex-army stuff, and that's what we took. Now, beware, these modern Dixies are made with lightweight material. The original Dixies, I'd say, were at least twice as thick as that. They were heavy, and on the modern stoves it would take longer to cook. But this is how you had, you did all your work in one, cooked into the other one for eating. Excellent bit of kit. I still use them. I prefer them to the modern stuff, but that's because I'm old fashioned and I use them. Another thing that we had, no kid was cool unless they had a steady knife, fork and spoon like that. Only one difference. On the back, there would be the German Wehrmacht signs. Some relation had got them during the war. I got mine from my Uncle Tom. He'd been a dispatch rider during the war, and he had got a set. And it was the usual, like they are. Well, you didn't see them so much now, but it's knife, fork, spoon, and that's a bottle opener, come can opener. And they used to have the German eagle in it. Some bugger pinched mine. But that was what it was like back then. As you can see, this is bubbling away. And if it wasn't for that blinking bit of fire lighter, it would be burning brilliant. There was other things around at the time. There was some methylated spirit stoves. Tangia was only developed in the 50s, Tangia as we know it. But there was Swedish stuff going away back to the early 1900s, I think the late 18s. But no, in this country, there wasn't infrastructure of transport, big fancy word that. It means the boat and the plane didn't come here so often, so we didn't get the gear. So, methylated spirits wasn't popular. Woolworths, if you care what that was, they did have a methylated spirit stove for 14 and 6months. 72.5 pence. I got one. It was rubbish. It looked like hell. But that was there. And some folk had it, but again there was a bother of getting the methylated spirit, or as denatured alcohol as they call it nowadays. You just couldn't get it. You had to go to the chemist and sign the poisons book, and you'd only get a wee bottle. The other thing it was about was the hexi block, the army stoves. But then it was a wee hexi block. It was probably this sort of stuff. It's probably about a fire later. But again, it was hard to get them. The best thing was the hexi block was great for starting a fire. But we tried them. They're great for heating up army meals and making up a cuppa. But they were no good for making a meal. Now nowadays they've upgraded them and they use this fire dragon. I've got one. That's the fuel for it. I couldn't find it. Somewhere in the bottom of a bag somewhere. Or I would have brought it. Again, I'm going to get an argument for this, but my view, they're alright for heating up army grub. And there's a lot of that about and it's good stuff. I've got the stuff that you heat up and I like it. And if you can get a whole army of rations, God almighty, that'll keep you going for 2 days. But in my view, they're not that great for, shall we say, doing real cooking. But a nice standby, a wee brew up, heat up an army meal, magic. That was all we had back then. Anyway, as you see, this is taken over and it's burning alright on its own now. Now, I said you can't put dirt on that. But for all you guys that are into doomsday prepping or survival, I've done a wee bit myself. You can run household fuel. That household oil works great in it. In fact, that's what's burning in it now. Works brilliant in it. It's an absolute, there's plenty of that running about, and it runs just as well. Maybe a wee bit more dirty, but what the hell, it works. Anyway, that's your mainstay. But I'll put this out. Just turn the valve. Shove it there at the back. In fact, I might move the whole thing out. Well, I will in a minute, but I've got to use this. The Kelly Kettle. That was the other thing it used to keep in the back of the car. Well, the wee gas stoves were just coming out. It was wee blue containers, but they weren't self-sealing. You had to puncture them in the leak. Okay, we all tried them, but this was the thing if you were just going out picnicking. You could go to the side of a stream, fill it up with water, and away it would go. Now, the Kelly Kettle, to give it its right name, it was developed by a guy called Kelly, obviously, back in the 1890s in Ireland. It's got 100 other names. The Kerry Kettle, no, Kelly didn't live in Kerry. I don't know how it got that. The fishing kettle, because it was very, very popular with fishermen. The volcanic kettle, the Vesuvius kettle, after Vesuvius. But basically, it's a rocket stove. Put the water in there, and you start a fire in there. Now, I should have got some sticks. I'll be back in a minute. I've got some sticks. Right, we'll give this a try. The wood's a wee bit wet. It might work, it might not. But the Kelly Kettle, what didn't they say was, with this bung, you could take water from home. I've done that today. But for goodness sake, take the bung out before you start it. Right, we'll get it started. Oh, let's take no prisoners. Right, you put wee twigs in through the top. Down the lum, down the chimney. Now these are damp. I'm hoping that it takes. There's going to be a lot of smoke. But as you can see, that's working alright. There's a hell of a heat coming out of there. He just kept feeding it. I've got the hole on this side. Aye! Oh, look at that, the flame's coming out the top. I must be doing something right. Now basically, the chimney, all the heat's gone up the chimney, and it's heating the water, which is in the outside of the kettle. Now you just keep feeding it wee bits of wood. And this is why the fishermen liked it. Because they'd draw up on the side of the loch when they fancied a brew. Fill it up straight for the loch or for the burn. Back in these days we didn't bother with this filtration stuff. We just chased it straight for the burn. We knew if it was clean or no, we could taste it. Does that make us hard men? Well, nowadays I think sometimes you take things too seriously. Yep, it's got away fine. Plenty of heat in that. Yeah, as it goes you can put the bigger sticks in. I still don't know if it's going to work. I think it's still a wee bit wet, but we'll give it a go anyway. That's heating up. That's doing well. Another thing back in the day, we had tin mugs. Modern version, plastic handle. The reason being a tin mug, once you put anything warm in it, it would burn the blinking hand off you. This is a wee bit better with the plastic handles. Yeah. Also back in the day we didn't have 3-in-1. Back then all we had was tea bags. And a wee bit, you'd have a bag with sugar in it. And if you were really lucky, you'd have some powdered milk. It was called marble. But you could get condensed milk in a tube and would sometimes carry it. That was quite common with the campers. The other thing was lighters. Very few folk had a lighter. it was all matches. And matches would get wet. So what you did was, hey, there's a thing, I've never saw a matchbox recently. No, we one anyway. So what you did was, you got the matchbox, opened it, and the end where all the strikers were, you'd melt candle along there. You'd cover that in candle wax, which meant if the matches got wet, which it often did in your pocket, you could still get them to work. Okay, the striker was wet as well. So what you did was, back in these days, we didn't have plastic zips or our flies. They were metal zips. So we used to take the match and strike it on your zip, get it going. All these things have changed. We've came on a bit. All the dodgies no longer exist. Let's see. This isn't burning as well as I had thought, but the idea is there. Oh, it's getting quite warm. I'll just stop that now and come back when it's ready to pour. That looks like it's ready. The wind was a wee bit damp. Now, cheers. That took a wee bit longer than normal, but the wind was damp, so I was going to get a good burn. Middle of December, what do you expect? Anyway, that's how we started, using the Primus, and there wasn't really anything else about. However, when we were doing a Duke of Edinburgh award in '65, the Army gave us some of their equipment, and they gave us a lot of their stoves. Now, the British Army had probably the first man-portable stoves. Oh, they were fantastic. And when I started camping again, or fishing again, the first thing I got was a Coleman portable stove. I still like them. But you couldn't get your hands on them for love nor money back then. But now they're minted. Next time, well, my first time out in the new year, I'll bring along my collection of modern stoves, and I've tried quite a few. But anyway, that'll do me to Christmas. I was hoping to get away at Christmas, but we'll see what happens with this COVID that's going on. But anyway, whatever. The main thing is that we all have a good Christmas. And you have a good Christmas too, my friends. And hopefully I'll see you in the middle of January when I can start getting out again. Cheers.